Good morning everyone, this is AJ and welcome back to the channel. Well, I say morning because it's actually 4:30 AM here on a Saturday morning, and it's pretty damn cold out. I've got up early to take my missus to work. Yeah, save her driving in herself because awkward for her to get home. I drove her in and it is cold out there. It feels like autumn, it feels like winter. It is bitterly cold out, I can tell you. Anyway, enough about the weather. New comic book pickup video for you. Yeah, I've been to the comic shop again and just run through what I've picked up. Some comics and a figure as well from the Forbidden Planet. So let's take a look. Okay, yeah, so I do get to the comic shop. Well, I did go a week ago. I've gone again today. I probably won't go in a week's time. I'll probably wait 2 weeks and go in a fortnight and pick my stuff up then. But, you know, being that it was payday, I always pop in Forbidden Planet and see if there's anything that I want. And there was one particular item that I was after, a figure, and thusly I grabbed it. So I'm going to start with that. But before I do, hit the subscribe button, come and join the channel. Leave me a comment, all that sort of stuff. So let's take a look at the figure that I picked up. Now this was reduced from $24.99 to $19.99. It was there last week when I went in. I didn't pick it up. I wanted to, but I didn't. But anyway, so I picked it up this week. I was hoping it was still there, and it was. And I've been picking up Spawn figures lately. I'm on this Spawn kick with the Spawn comics. Yeah, so fantastic stuff. So I picked up the character of Haunt, and I had wanted this one for a while. Yeah, it's a character that got his own series. It lasted about 26 issues, something like that. I do have them in trade paperback. I have the first lot of issues as issues. And it's a character that's still predominant in the Spawn comics, who pops up every now and then. Obviously, I'm not going to open it, but you do get, like, other sets of hands. These sort of freaky hands that can be attached to him. And this sort of stuff here, like a weapon or something. I don't know what this is. I got no idea what that thing is. I couldn't tell you, but there we go. So there's the side of the box, like so. Spawn logo, and yeah, Haunt. So I will do a video showing all my Spawn figures. I haven't got many. I've got a few, but ironically, I haven't got a classic Spawn. That's what I haven't got, a classic Spawn. So that might be next on my list. But there we go, yes. So, Haunt, that's fantastic. So let's have a look at the comic books that I've picked up this week. Okay, so I do have a pile here, like so. So we're going to get through it one at a time. Let's take a look at what I've got. Okay, first up is a new Vampirella series that's come out. I don't know if it's a series or if it's a one-off. Let me take a look before I show you. It's probably a mini-series. I've got to find the back. No, I don't know. Yes, no, it is an ongoing, which is great, or a mini-series, and that is called Vampirella Mind Warp. Yeah, with a cover by Joseph Michael Lintzner, I think, is that his name? He'd done a comic book called Dawn back in the day. Hold on one sec. I just had to have a look. His name is Joseph Michael Lintzner. I think I got it the wrong way round. So he'd done this comic book here called Dawn, and this is old. This is going back some time. I'm probably talking in the 90s. Yeah, which is through I don't know what company. Sirius. Yeah, he's a great artist. He really is, and he does covers at the moment, this sort of thing. So he's done this Vampirella Mind Warp cover. And this is a comic book that, well, all I know is it's Vampirella. What can I say? You know, a character that I've read over the years. And since Dynamite started publishing, I am still reading. I am reading. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, so that's that. And let's see what else is coming. Just because I did notice that. Oh, okay, so we've got a Garbage Pail Kids Origins comic book debuting in October. Yeah, that'll be interesting because, well, we'll come on to that. Yeah, so next up is a photo variant cover, a cosplay cover that they do for yeah, Vampirella Might Warp, like so. The interior is obviously the same. And then we have Immortal Red Sonja. Now, Red Sonja is another comic book character that I read, and I like reading these characters because they're not on screen. I know that, you know, Red Sonja's getting a film finally, apparently. Well, I won't hold my breath on that one. But yeah, so I'm reading stuff that I don't get a fix of on the big screen. And that's got a cosplay photo variant cover. Now, in my last video, Ian, over at Ian Hill the Ramblings, he made a good point, and I didn't think about it, is that, you know, in this day and age where, you know, this sort of stuff is sort of shunned upon, do you know what I mean? That we're still actually getting this feministic, you know, world, everything's woke and all this sort of thing. It's amazing that, you know, you're still getting covers like this, because Marvel, there was an era when, believe me now, the Miss Marvel comic looked like she was androgynous. She didn't look like you know, she could pass for a boy. That's how they drew her. There was no femininity about her whatsoever. So it's nice that, you know, you're still actually getting something that portrays women as a woman as opposed to anything else, regardless of what your thoughts are on it. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, let's move on. So next up, I said Garbage Pail Kids. It's Mad Balls versus Garbage Pail Kids. This is issue 3. Like I said, the only reason I've really gone to this is because Garbage Pail Kids, you know, it's a film that I watched and got a little while ago that I remember from my childhood, and I remember collecting the cards. So, yeah, I just, you know, it's a fun read, if nothing else. Don't get nothing out of it. It's not going to, like, set the world alight. But it's that sort of nostalgic kind of effect that it has. Next up, like I said, Spawn. Issue 14 of King Spawn. Yeah, Spawn, you know, Todd McFarlane's one of the second comic ever from Image, when Image first came about in the 90s. And yeah, it's a character that I read back then. I then stopped reading and have now sort of got back into, and I've got the compendiums, first 150 issues of Spawn, the 4th compendium, which is, they're about that thick each. The 4th compendium is in December, so that'll give me the first 200 issues, although I do have the first 100 issues of Spawn as standard individual comics. But I've got loads of boxes of comics, really. I've got loads and loads of boxes of comics, and I was considering doing a series on me just going through them boxes. Now, I know that my comic book videos don't get many views because this is primarily a sort of YouTube and film account and this sort of a thing, channel, I should say. But if nothing else, it gives me a sort of, you know, a sort of video diary of what's in what box. So I might consider doing that. If that's something you're interested in me doing at some point, then let me know, and I will get round to it. But let me know if there is any interest in that. And I'm going back, do you know what I mean, to like the 90s, 80s, this sort of thing in these boxes. I don't know what's in it. It would be random as to what I pull, what's in, you know, as I get through the boxes. It could be anything. Anyway, next up is issue 3 of the latest run of Daredevil. Character that I've read on and off, I will say. It's not something I've read religiously or anything, depending on the take on the character. I like it when it's more grounded, gritty sort of take. Brian Michael Bendis done a fantastic run, followed up by Ed Brubaker, and that's the era of Daredevil that I most enjoyed. Alex Maleev was the artist at the time, and it was proper grounded, non-superhero type fare. Yeah, just a great time for the character, it really was. And they're in them boxes somewhere. Now, this is the problem with Marvel. As you can see, they're doing a Moon Knight annual, but lo and behold, they're including Werewolf by Night. Now, the only reason that Werewolf by Night has decided to include Werewolf by Night in a comic is because of the Halloween special that he's getting on Disney Plus. And this is what the comics do. You know, they focus on characters that are on screen for them, and that makes I don't like that too much. But there we go. Next up is a issue 3 of a Dynamite comic that's a sort of 2 film franchises coming together. And it's not the first time it's happened for these film franchises. This is the Army of Darkness, the Evil Dead, franchise. Ash from the Evil Dead joining with the Reanimator, another classic horror franchise, Necronomicon Rising. They have sort of done a sort of team-up comic before, or a versus comic, whatever you want to call it, where both properties are in the same. And I get a lot of fun out of reading the Army of Darkness comics. They sort of work. Now, interestingly, there was a time a little while ago where you had running concurrent an Evil Dead comic and an Army of Darkness comic. Because they're both owned by different studios, the Evil Dead and the Army of Darkness, Dynamite Comics got the rights to the Army of Darkness and produced Army of Darkness comics. And this other company, I can't remember their name, they got a hold of the Evil Dead comic, the rights, and they produced Evil Dead comics. So you had Ash, the character of Ash, in 2 different comic runs. Which was great for me, because I enjoy the character of Ash. But yeah, so that's Army of Darkness versus Reanimator. Then now, I picked up issue 1 of Star Trek Lower Decks. Now, Star Trek Lower Decks is, as you know, it's a TV series where it's all animated and it's all done for laughs. And it's a great TV series, it really is. A lot of love for Star Trek, this sort of TNG era in the show. And I don't really read Star Trek comics. I find it sort of lost in translation. I just never got into them. I've tried them, but I thought, you know what, because this is a tongue-in-cheek comic, animation, art style, very much reminiscent to, the sort of Batman animated series, not so much, but do you know what I'm saying? That sort of on-screen cartoon put onto paper, when they'd done the animated series cartoons, I just thought it would be, I'll give this one a go, because, it could work for me, just because it's a sort of like a throwaway story, and with quite a fun crew. So next up from Marvel is issue 2 of Marvel's Predator, the new Predator comic from Marvel, formerly published by Dark Horse until obviously Disney bought Fox, and thus the rights eventually reverted from Dark Horse to Marvel, and finally Marvel have done a Predator comic. This was in the pipeline for some time, but it never came about. They've kind of waited until the release of the film Prey to now release their comic books to sort of, cash in on that. And I got to admit, I quite like the art style inside and the colouring. I did review issue 1. This is set sometime in the future, this story. And it's about this girl whose family and crew were killed by a predator. And she's hunting down the predator that had done it. Next up is one that I'd ordered online, and this is primarily for the cover, nothing more, because I don't read this comic, but they done these Predator versus covers, and this is a comic called Iron Cat, which is actually Felicity Hardy, is that her name? Felicia Hardy, sorry, the Black Cat, from the Spider-Man comics, but in this, she's got herself a sort of Iron Man suit that she's stolen from Tony Stark or something. I don't know, but I got it because it was a Predator variant, and I have got a few of the Predator variant covers, not all of them, just a few of them. But I liked this one because, you've got her atop of a skull trophy case, like a la Predator 2. But inside you have the Ghost Rider skull still burning. You have an Ultron head there. That's the Man Thing. That's the Red Skull. I'm unsure who that is. I don't know. It could be Rocket Raccoon or something, I suppose. I don't know. But then you got a Venom or Carnage skull there. You know, you got another skull up there. I just like the way it threw in some characters from sort of like the Marvel Pantheon in skull form. You know, like the Predator had hunted them all down. And then, second to last now is issue 333 of Spawn itself, the ongoing Spawn comic. I love this cover. I like the sort of black and green, black, white and green effect to it. It stands out. It's quite rather striking. I like that. These have fantastic covers. They really do. And it's always been... they've always had good art. You know, the Spawn comics have always... Todd McFarlane himself used to draw them. And like I said, that character I picked up, Haunt, here he is here. Like I said, he's still prominent in the Spawn comics, even though his own run did come to an end. Yeah. But it's just a classic Spawn figure I need. That's what I need to get. And I used to have one from a different, like when Spawn first came out, I did have a little Spawn figure, but I want one of these McFarlane Toys ones. Because McFarlane, who makes these toys and owns his toy company, is the creator of Spawn. As you can see, McFarlane Toys at the top. And yeah, Todd McFarlane was the Spawn created by Todd McFarlane. He still does a bit of work on the scripts, but he's a busy guy because he has the toy company and all this sort of thing. But he used to write and draw Spawn himself. He was the geezer who essentially created Venom for Marvel, and he used to do a lot of Spider-Man comics and covers, and he was a fantastic artist. He really was. Probably one of the top artists in the 90s. So that's it for my comics. Well, apart from one, I'll show you that. So now what happened was I was walking out of the comic shop, and then I looked to the side and they had some sale stuff there, right? And so I picked up a graphic novel for £3, and it's only a little one because it's kind of like a shrunk size graphic novel. So that's your standard comic size. That's the size of this. But it's of X-Men Noir. Now, you may know Spider-Man Noir from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, but a while back, I don't want to say how many years now because I'll be totally wrong. I don't know. I'm looking to see if they had it. If they had the date, I can't see it. But anyway, so a while back they done these noir comic books. You had Spider-Man Noir, you had Punisher Noir, you had X-Men Noir and this sort of thing. I never read the X-Men, but the Punisher one I've got in little book format like this. I've just gone to grab it to show you. So that's the Punisher one that I've had for some time. And I do have the individual issues as well, which would have been shown in a Punisher related comic book thing. But so I picked up X-Men Noir to go with it for £3, which is a fantastic price. Like I said, I've got these Spider-Man Noirs in their individual comics somewhere, but I don't think I ever picked up X-Men. Now, I'm not a big X-Men fan when it comes to comics, and I've never read the X-Men. Believe it or not, I've never read the X-Men because I don't like team-up books or team books. I struggle with team books because so many characters, you know, I prefer to focus on one character. I have, however, read individual, like Wolverine comics, things like that. But as X-Men comics go, it's never something I've been into. The films are fine. I don't mind it on film. But yeah, so anyway, so this was £3. X-Men Noir. Never read them when they first came out. Didn't buy them. But, you know, for a graphic novel, yeah, it's got a pen mark down there, I know. But, you know, £3. Do you know what I mean? I can't go wrong, really. Should be a good read. But yeah, so that's it. Those were my comic book pickups and that figure, which I'm pleased with. Yeah. They did have a Spawn there with a throne, like a Spawn character with a throne thing that he sits on. A bit dearer than this one here. because it's quite a big box. But I'll do a video showing what I've got in the way of Spawn figures. I've done them individually as I've got them, but I'll do, it's not many, it's only like 5 or 6, but I'll do one. Anyway, this is AJ. Thank you for watching, and like I said, let me know if you are interested in me going through all of the boxes that I have out there somewhere. You know, it could be a fun time for me, if nothing else. This is AJ. Thanks for watching, and hit the subscribe button. I'll see you on the next one. Take care all, and goodbye.